So as you can see, Karan's LinkedIn profile here, and this is his GRE score report, first attempt only, the only attempt that he wrote, and you can see verbal 165 and quant 170, overall 335, which is a phenomenally high score. And as a result of this, he has been able to crack the Masters in Finance program at MIT interview, and very soon we'll hope that he gets through the interview as well. So this is just one of the most phenomenal stories. Let's listen to him as to what he has to say. So, how are you doing right now? All
Very
things
well. Thank you so much, Sandeep. And you've played a role in this journey in a lot of
right.
ways. And thank you. You're doing really
I
well. How is it going for you?
absolutely fine. Absolutely. I'd like, though you've told me some part of it, I'd like everyone to go through your journey through your eyes. So, why don't you take us through what happened? And GRE, I'll obviously talk about a bit later, but
Sure,
just the journey. Yes.
sure. So the journey, what made it interesting was not much, just one health issue that turned a lot of things for me in life. Just like any of us who are present here, I did a bachelor's in economics from Delhi University, and then I was working at a fintech startup. And recently, my recent job was at a venture capital fund based out of Gurgaon. So, I was doing a lot of things back then. Just the difference in my journey from a lot of people that I knew was that I had a issue in my spinal cord. By birth, there was an issue that the canal that goes through our spine, originating from our brain and going
Mm-hmm.
right through the lower spinal cord, that was quite narrow. It was one third of the usual size, and because of that stenosis in the canal, as it's called,
Mm-hmm.
it was one third of the usual size, and my nerves were being pressed at all points. So there was a nerve pain that used to originate from my lower spinal cord and go right through my right leg.
Mm-hmm.
It was it the all the disease was detected in 2016 when I was in school. It came out back then,
Mm-hmm.
and I was undergoing yoga therapy time and again, and used to get fined for a while. But there were some precautions that had to be taken as part of the lifestyle that I was having.
Right.
And it came down to the extent, because of work from home and a sedentary lifestyle that started off after my graduation. The problem worsened to the extent, to a great extent, in 2021. And in last year, in April, it was to the extent that I could not get out of my bed at all.
Mm-hmm.
It used to take me 15 minutes only to sit down from a lying down position. And I used to have extreme
Mm-hmm.
pain from my lower spinal cord and right through till the second finger of my foot.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the entire nerve used to get pressed. And I was, after a lot of consultations and MRI scans, I was told that I was just one step away from a permanent paralysis in my right leg. uh,
Oh.
so that was the situation, and had to take a call.
Mm-hmm.
My job was back then in Gurgaon, so I had to travel 50 kilometers a day. I am putting up in South Delhi, and that was always a challenge, traveling and sitting in the office as well.
Mm-hmm.
So had to prioritize my body and health first, and so quit my job, took a career break, and started off with therapy sessions. Interestingly, the doctor that we found was also from somebody, a specialist from Ahmedabad.
Mm-hmm.
And every 15 days, I did three things starting from April last year in 2022. I
Mm-hmm.
Every 10 days I used to travel to and from Ahmedabad. I used to take painkillers and sit in the
Mm-hmm.
flight, go for my treatment, and come back within the same day. So apart from this, I started reading a lot of non-fiction books about
Mm-hmm.
different entrepreneurs who've been there. And third thing that I used to do, I was preparing for my FRM, which is Financial Risk Management Level
Right.
2 exam. I had
Right.
cleared the level 1 earlier. I was preparing for the level 2
You
because the
also done
exam was,
CFA level two,
yes, I've also done CFA level 1. That was in 2021.
right? Right. Right. Right.
So, I just used to do these three things from April till May end. May end,
Mm.
I took painkillers, went for the exam, gave the FRM exam, and fortunately cleared it as well. And after that, I had nothing to do. There was no purpose. And when somebody like me says that, it was mentally frustrating, because in my life, since my high school journey up till up till
Mm.
May of June of 2022, there was not a time when I, liked sitting idle or I had
Mhm.
nothing to do. I was
Right.
always up for something or the other, maybe some taking up some courses, maybe
Mm.
learning something, maybe gaining some soft skills.
Right.
Like even during the lockdown in 2020, Sandeep. So
Mhm.
everybody, all of us us were in our homes for 3 to 4 months at least till there were some relaxations. I did not come home. I was away from home. I was volunteering at an organization, and for full
So
3 months
someone
from
like you
April to
not having a purpose was such a
right.
big deal, I think. Such a
Exactly.
almost a stasis in life of sorts.
Exactly. So
Mhm,
towards in one of the phone conversations with my friends, they suggested कि यार अभी घर पर ही हो तो why not
mhm,
give GRE? Which the score is
mhm,
valid for 5 years. Might as well give the exam,
mhm.
and you can give it from home also, and
Right, right.
as part of that you can maybe apply this year or
Mhm,
the next year to different colleges. So I took that advice, and Sandeep, how you know how it works. Friends, may
mhm,
word of mouth is really strong.
mhm,
So they suggested कि there's this institute top 1% जहाँ से
mhm,
मैं भी सीख रहा हूँ. To be you should also
mhm.
enroll yourself and
Right, right.
get started. So it started off just like that, and
Mhm,
I again got some purpose in life back then when I had nothing to do. I got some purpose finally, and once I got started with the process, with the journey, and my
mhm,
association with top 1%, I never looked back. I
mhm,
used to find like even during my therapy sessions, like the doctor was used to apply some currents and machines
mhm,
in my lower spinal cord, and I used to take my phone in my hand and I used to solve vocab questions, or I used to solve
mhm.
critical reasoning questions even during the therapy sessions.
That's amazing
So
to know.
yeah,
Like,
so yeah,
so
so
what
that's
made you
what.
spring back? Because this is too much of a setback,
Right,
particularly because of your body not supporting you at all.
right,
And because of that, mentally also, you just feel like really you can go into any spiral, honestly.
right,
So
right.
what pulled you through in some way, please?
I guess I was the crazy one in my house. I will only say that, and that's the only conclusion I find, because people used to
Mhm,
tell me कि भाई take rest to so ja. मैं कहा,
mhm,
like, sleeping was has never been my thing, and
mhm.
I never agreed to that mindset कि भाई
Right,
to take
right.
rest or something. So I was always the crazy one, I would say, because
Mhm,
I remember. So this treatment was going on, preparations were
mhm.
going on, and know the world really helped because it gave me perspective about things that I was never ever aware of.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. You
yeah,
mentioned that to me also. Yes, I
right,
got
right.
remember.
So,
That
so
did pull
my
you through to some extent. You were saying that
yes.
this was that thing that particularly, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Because when so talking about my flights, right
Mhm,
from Delhi to Ahmedabad, during those, I had to used to carry my laptop with me, and the only I had downloaded the content with me,
mhm,
in the soft on the GMAT soft on the top
mhm,
software, and I used to only watch Know the World sessions
mhm.
during my flights. So that was one, and during my therapy sessions, I used to solve questions. So the
Right, right.
focus was always to be relentless in my efforts, because I knew that I am already at some disadvantage, right? Because
Right,
of
right.
my health issue, I was already at some disadvantage. So the effort that I had to put in had to be more than any normal
Mhm,
student would put in.
right.
So that was the focus all throughout, and I underwent surgery as well. I finally
Mhm,
underwent surgery in November 2022 from Apollo Hospital. It was a major surgery, and even during after the surgery, when it was my recovery period at the hospital, even then my laptop was with me. I used to solve questions over there as well. I used
mhm.
to practice as much as I could, and again, listening to Know the World sessions and awareness sessions was always a part of the whole journey and process.
In what way
So
did that help you? Because one part of that is information and one part of that is perspective on world and life. So which
of
one
course,
really stood out for you in that?
the perspective on world and life, Sandeep, clearly, primarily because the situation that I was in, I had nothing to lose. I
Right.
could have gone to much worse, a much
Mhm,
worse state of mind. And how Know the World pulled me out of that was that when you used to talk about Steve Jobs and the
mhm,
likes of Richard Branson, and how being crazy or
mhm,
being unconventional is actually
mhm.
has been helpful to those particular entrepreneurs and
Right.
success stories. So I thought that I am also different. I also used to find myself different from the others because of my story.
Right,
And
right.
the considering the uniqueness in my potential, I used to think that why if and you had said in one very famous statement that I still cannot forget, is that if something as worthless or as useless as Coca-Cola can change the world, then I certainly can.
Absolutely. I
So
mean, that stays
yes,
with
so
people, right?
yes, so that was a very important session as well overall in my
Right.
journey. And so I got out, and even from the hospital also, I was just practicing, and my focus was on giving the GRE and simultaneously applying for college if I
Did you
get a
have a
good.
successful surgery? It seems you did, but just take us through that.
Yes, yes, yes. The surgery was absolutely successful, and with the set, even in that surgery, somehow no, the world helped, because doctors told my parents that the usual time that any patient takes for recovery
Mhm,
after the surgery, it usually takes 10 days to come back to normal
mhm.
activities. I came back to normal activities in the first 3 days itself.
Wow, wow.
That
So
was my
the mind is capable of a lot more than we think.
right.
It's just not the body alone, I guess that is.
Absolutely, absolutely. I realized myself that I had a beast mindset at that time,
Mhm,
because I was just waiting to be unleashed
mhm.
somehow, and getting out of the rut that I was in. I would clearly term
Right,
it
right.
that ways, and I was just waiting to be unleashed, and got an opportunity again to sit for the GRE exam in
Mm,
December 2022, and
right.
was scored a 170 on 170 in quants and 165 in verbal, and then then started working on the next steps, which was to apply for masters in programs. And so far, again, then Autry came into help. First
Right.
Sandeep, you were there in the process of preparing me for the exam, and then Autry also pitched in through his expertise. And
Mhm,
I already had consulted somebody else back then, but because I did not know that top also has admission
mhm,
consulting services. But through my conversation with you, Autry pitched in my MIT application.
mhm,
He suggested a significant number of changes, and I made those changes at the very last moment. I got an invite from MIT Sloan. I have given the interview invite. I have given the
mhm.
interview now, and just waiting for the results. And there are other
Right.
colleges as well: the Yale School of Management, UCLA, Columbia Business School, NYU. I have applied to
Superb
these
to know
colleges
this.
and waiting to
Superb
hear
to know.
back from them.
Superb to know. Also, I'd like to know a little about the exam prep. So, quantitative, I guess, was an easier deal for you, or verbal was an easier deal? Like, what was?
Uh, so my thing was that my comfort level was always with verbal somehow.
Mhm,
English was I used to have a strong command in the language, and so that was that that never seemed to be a big challenge, because vocabulary practice was
mhm,
regular from my side. I knew the
mhm.
process,
Right.
and if you know the process well, it's just about following the same steps again and again to
Absolutely.
build
Right.
expertise.
How
So
about
that
reading
was.
comprehension? Did Octave help in some way?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Octave was the one thing that made the entire process much, much easier, I would say, because identifying,
Mm,
what the question is asking, and then accordingly verifying from
mm,
the passage, and elimination, the strategy that it is. It was
mm.
extremely helpful in that process, and really made the whole job easier during preparation. For critical reasoning as well, that was extremely helpful.
Right.
The tricks that you had discussed.
Right.
And for vocabulary, there is no other alternative, I believe, rather other than practicing,
Mhm.
because
Obviously, when you
yeah,
go wrong, you learn better. You remember
right,
the word, I
right.
guess. That's what.
Right, absolutely. And quants was easy with GRE, but it required practice and time from my side. I used to feel
Mm.
that I need to put in more and more effort over on that side.
Mm-hmm.
So because in GRE, even a 169 is bad, as you also say,
Right, right.
Sandeep.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was never the target. The target was always 170. So for a perfect 170, the effort also needs to be commensurate
Right.
with the expected score.
Did you
So
feel there was anything unusual on your exam from what you had studied, or it was kind of manageable? Because your score says it was outstandingly good, but just
right.
ask.
Not at all. For quant in particular, especially the questions that we have done with you, that
Mhm,
in the during the classes, and the
mhm,
level of the exam. The level of the exam was much lower than the level
mhm,
that we were practicing upon. Uh, so I guess that you'll be able to sail through the
mhm.
exam only. Just the key is, as Sandeep also says, that just follow the process,
Right.
and the instructions are very well laid out in the user manual as well.
Mhm,
Because I was a recorded class student,
mhm,
and the instructions were very well laid out, and we just had to follow it. And obviously,
mhm.
Sandeep, as I said, focus is the key, as it's always been the case. So yeah, that was extremely interesting
That's
and helpful.
really, really amazing because the kind of journey you've had, I mean, if you
Right,
were to really tell your story on any stage also,
right,
it'll really motivate thousands of people because we lose the battle in our minds. And when you said you
right,
were a beast when you were doing this, and
right,
especially going through so much and
right.
that trauma, I can't even imagine. Nobody can
Right.
imagine unless they've gone through this.
Mhm.
So it's absolutely commendable. Karan, would you like to tell people what they should and shouldn't do in general? I mean, exam and otherwise, like
Right.
a couple of things that they should do when they're writing the GRE or when they're really fighting a battle such as yours, and
Mhm.
what they shouldn't do. I mean, generally, please let me know.
Sure. So, do's and don'ts will be the first do will be, listen to your gut and listen to yourself. Do
Mm.
not underestimate yourself at any point of time because I guess all of us have the potential. I guess Sandeep, in my case also, I have also learned from different
Mm.
experiences. So, always have an open mind.
Right.
Be open to learning and listening to others, and so that is one thing. But always take your own decisions. सुनो सबकी करो अपनी. That is
Hmm.
the key that I have always wanted to
Right,
follow at
right.
least.
Any
And
other thing you would like to tell? Please tell.
sure, sure. Apart from this, is that the process is everything. Result oriented से ज़्यादा one can be in a better position if you are process oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So, just follow the same steps every day, build that expertise
Mm-hmm.
in your mind because GRE is also talking specifically about the exam. That is also, you have time constraints for that exam.
Right.
And only when, you have that mental practice, you will be in a swift
Mm.
position to be able to, brush through questions at a good pace and
Right.
complete the exam. So that is the key, following the process and building that mental expertise and then, sitting for the exam.
What should people not do according to you? Then maybe
Not
it is a
do,
flip of what you said, but still, I'd like
right.
to.
Not do is I guess get distracted because these days it's very
Mm.
very easy to do that. That is the only thing that I followed, that not
Mm.
listening to plans or not listening to what others were doing in their own lives, because every all of us are unique in some or the other
Mhm.
way. And the best thing is to, as I said, listen to your gut and suno sabki karo apni. Take your own decisions. Do not fall into
Mhm.
do not fall prey or get lured
Mm.
into offers that seem exciting, but in the
Right.
long term that they might not help you well.
So, Karan, obviously you've come out of it, you got a score, you probably will get through one of the topmost universities such as MIT. What does this
Hopefully.
success do to your, confidence and your outlook towards life? Does it make you that I can do anything now? मतलब एक होता है अंदर से कि अब तो मैं कुछ भी कर जाऊंगा. Or
Yes, absolutely. Honestly, I think that there much worse could have happened.
Mhm.
Hindsight में तो बहुत बुरा हो सकता था चीजें, but you to be able to fight through it, there is one feeling of liberty that
Mhm.
first of all that you are out of that situation. So एक वो freedom जो होता है, that is really empowering.
Mhm.
And once you have faced difficult situations in life, the next step forward is फिर आप practical हो जाते हो. You
Mm.
the smaller things do not matter. And Sandeep,
That's
as
fabulous.
you had also said that make your goals so big in life that all other things seem insignificant. So that is
Absolutely.
the case when you come out of such a situation. And that was, again, that was also one of the lines that has stayed with me in that journey.
Superb,
uh, yeah,
superb to know,
yeah,
Karan. And because
yeah,
the Know the World program that has helped you so much, I'd like you to somehow propagate and popularize it too, if you can, because it's a
sure,
free of cost offering. We don't charge
right,
for it, but we want more and more people to benefit from something like this.
sure,
So
sure,
in any case
absolutely.
that you can probably do, write a post or, whenever, I mean, it's a possibility. Just
Hmm.
popularize that thing so that more and more people can really benefit from something like that, if possible, because you actually lived through that sort of a journey and you come out triumphant. So
Right.
people will probably relate to it better only if you're comfortable sharing that journey.
Absolutely, absolutely, Sandeep. I'll just do that. Anything for you.
Right. Thanks, Karan. Thanks for your
Thank you.
time. Then let's really
Thank you.
hope you crack MIT and
Uh,
really come up with greater news very soon. Right.
sure, sure. Looking
Right.
forward. Thank you,
Right.
Sandeep. Thank you.
Bye
Good night.
bye. Bye bye, Karan.
Bye.
Good
Take care.
night.